College is a dynamic concept, but if you were to break it down into simple terms, college is where young adults prepare themselves for careers. This is no different for student athletes. Although a large percentage of student athletes will go pro in something other than sports, it's important to look at the rights of those who will.
Important for them.
And that is driven deep to left field. Luke Miller, get in the car and drive that baby out of here. A major home run for Indiana as they look to continue to just build that lead.
Eddie.
Gentlemen, what does it feel like to have won the men's Little 500?
You couldn't ask for a better moment. We've been training all year for this. This is just the cherry on top. We've been all year just brothers.
It's more than the race. It's everything in between. It's these three guys and every one of our fans in the stand. All the guys in the team. All of us in the den. We're inside. Holy shit!
Charlie, you're a senior. What's it like to go out like this?
Yes, you heard that right. The NCAA suspended 5 student athletes for engaging in a friendly competition online. Not for cheating on a test or seeking out payment for play. They were suspended for fantasy football.
Joel Nkuzi with the quick shot and the quick score. Nkuzi finding the back of the net, and boy, oh boy, she is establishing herself early on as a superstar in the pool. Kruger once again. And that off-speed pitch gets him swinging. Strike 3 on Brandon Gum. And the Hoosiers get out of this inning only giving up 2. Indiana leads 6-2 heading to the bottom of the 5th. Thanks, Josh. Now, we know Indiana's been hot lately, winning 9 out of their last 10. But if you have to look at an individual performance over that time span, you have to look at Matt Lloyd, who recently took home the title of National Player of the Week because he hit over 600 last week, brought in 10 RBIs, hit 4 home runs, and even added 2 saves on the mound. Talking to Coach Lemonis, he recruited Matt Lloyd for the sole purpose of hitting 3rd in this lineup as a JUCO transfer. And he said earlier on in the season that Matt Lloyd really wasn't hitting that well. He was hitting around 200, and he expected more from him. But I don't think he could have expected that big of a blowout last week. Now back to you, Josh. So now Indiana's got some space on the foot of Trevor Swartz, who's going to push it wide to Ballard. Going to go one-on-one with his defender. Cut inside. Tries to drop it off for 5s, and that's a big turnover as now Giuseppe Barone has an opportunity to use his pace. He's going to look forward. He's got Sierakowski to his left. A great spin move. Dropping it off for Krolicki out wide on the near side, who tries to send across into the box, but great defense there by Grant Lillard, forcing him out for a goal kick.
It is illegal for a college coach to drive a student athlete to any practice facilities. It is even a violation for a coach to help a student athlete find a suitable apartment. The rules, they are everywhere. They are everywhere, and they are remarkably intrusive. So it begs the question, does the NCAA go too far with its regulations?
Coach of Theta and Blackhey Bulls. Now you're coming off yesterday's win in the women's race. What was that experience like after the crash, coming back from that and still winning the race? Now you guys have plenty of momentum coming into today, winning the spring series, getting that white jersey. How important is that momentum coming into this race? A wing cross there. And back out to Nkuzi. Nkuzi finding her teammate Kelly Matthews, who once again finds the back of the net for the Hoosiers, and they double Cal Baptist score 12-6 with 2:50 left to go in this 4th period.
As an athlete can now declare for the draft without an agent, go through talent evaluations in the draft combine, and still return to school with their eligibility intact. With those changes, the NBA still isn't perfect. Many question the age minimum of draft eligibility. Some saying that allowing players to leave college after 1 year destroys the sanctity of their education. Others saying requiring athletes to go to school in the first place is unnecessary.
I'm here with Indiana infielder Tony Butler. Now another big performance here for the Hoosiers. You guys have won 10 out of your last 11. What have you guys been doing so well, and what's the team mentality right now?
I think
Ballard with some space on the left side. Looking to go one-on-one with his defender. Cut inside. Trying to give a low cross to Fives, who hits the post, and then Swartz sends that into the back of the net, and Indiana takes the early lead 1-0 with 22 minutes left to go in the first half. What a great shot by Trevor Swartz. And this is huge for the Hoosiers, who have been really building confidence as of late. Of course, taking 2 out of 3 against Michigan, with the walk-off against Ball State, and now coming up against the #1 team in the Big Ten, Arty, with a 6-0 lead here in the bottom of the 4th, and Logan Sowers to the plate with a runner in scoring position.
College athletics involve individuals, and this means it involves personalities. Every individual is different, and their needs are constantly changing. So if a student athlete sees his or her needs change, they should be offered the ability to change schools. And they are, but with restrictions. But David Tyree literally caught a football on his helmet. That's something I've never seen before. And the fact that he caught it in the Super Bowl, setting up what would be the game-winning drive to stop the undefeated Patriots, that's impressive.
An exclusion now on Valerie Spezza-Ferry. So Indiana will be working the power play, the pass out to the wing, and the quick shot there, and a great finish right under the arm of Lena Medeiros. And Indiana will take the 5-0 lead with 6:39 left to go in this second quarter. And they're going to try and work around the wing to Nkusi. The key here on the power play is not finding the first shot opportunity, but finding the best. You have one more girl in the pool than the other team. Take advantage. And the shot comes from the wing, straight off the hand of Sarah Young and into the back of the net. And the Hoosiers will extend their lead.
With these restrictions, how do we as a society expect to handle broken promises? Does there need to be a change to transfer rules? Or will a change increase the amount of transfers we see to a level too large to handle?
I just caught up with Charlie Hammond of BKB, the one who got in that little tangle up with Jet Black. He told me what was really going on is turn 3 and 4 are not great. They're a little bit dusty, and teams are going to have to start to get conservative. So we take a look at Northwestern. It's important to look at how they're going to be lining up on the defensive side of the ball. Northwestern recently making the move to 3 center backs back there. Kind of a trendy choice, something that Antonio Conte recently brought to Chelsea in the Premier League. So something to keep an eye on, because Northwestern, ever since making that change, has won 4 out of the last 5. Now, when we talk about water polo is definitely a sport that not everybody's rather accustomed to. How would you describe it to someone watching this sport for the very first time? And now with the bases loaded and no outs, Matt Lloyd, the Alberta, Canada native, and the JUCO transfer from Iowa Western will come into the plate. He's tied for 4th in the Big Ten in home runs with 9 and tied for 10th in saves with 4 on the mound. Certainly a dynamic player for this roster, looking to do something dynamic here at the plate.
So there's a reason that Julio Jones' catches probably going to get forgotten. I won't care about it in about 2 weeks, but I will care completely about Julian Edelman's, because the Patriots won the greatest Super Bowl of all time. So that catch matters.
Alex Krupa.
Thanks, Josh. Now, it seems like every time you send it down my way, I'm talking about one of these Indiana hitters. And honestly, it's justified if you've seen the way they've been hitting as of late. And one of their most prolific at the plate has been Alex Krupa, the senior, who talked to us before today's game and actually told us a little interesting tidbit. Apparently, coming into this season, he injured his knee in the fall and told us it really slowed down his development coming into this season. But clearly, that hasn't had too much of an impact now. We talked to him, he told us he changed his swing, really changed his approach from last year, and because of it, he took home the award of Big Ten Player of the Week 2 weeks ago after going 8 for 15 and scoring 5 runs.
And there's a reason they're being televised over other events. They're getting better ratings, and you look at the revenue that the BCS is bringing in, each conference is bringing in at least $50 million from these bowl games. Why would you ever want to get rid of that opportunity to bring in revenue? Because you wouldn't be making revenue if people didn't care.
Yeah, when you talk about pageantry, how about jumping over the Big Ten Coach of the Year last
That was
year?
impressive. I don't actually know how tall Tom Crean is.
Oh,
They don't have it on the roster.
If we could figure that out, that would add to the analysis. Also, don't forget the ducked head.
The duck head, that is true.
He's been aggressive. He has not been afraid of pounding the strike zone. As this off-speed pitch finds the outside of the plate for strike 3. Kruger with the pivotal strikeout to end the top of the 4th. Now, some may argue that it's not the job of the media to cover women's sports simply because it's the right thing to do. The media has to cover what is popular for the viewer. But this is where we have our problem. Women's sports are as popular as ever. According to FIFA, more than 750 million televised viewers watched the FIFA Women's World Cup in Canada in 2015.
In fact, the championship game of that tournament was the most watched soccer match in U.S. history. Thanks to Title IX, we have millions of female athletes and their sports are growing immensely. The interest is statistically there, but the question remains, why isn't there the coverage?
It's passed around the point now. Plenty of fake shots and a nice deflection there from Cal Baptist. As the two sophomores, Lizette Perez and Abby Auer, collapsed in on that shot. And now on the counter is Cal Baptist. Anna Eubanks trying to find space. And we'll see a foul called there. Back to the wing and Eubanks. And she takes the shot and finds the right side of Gaudreau. And that's going to be a needed goal for Cal Baptist. Cal Baptist trying to work it just around the point, trying to find a shot opportunity, but with 6 seconds left in the shot clock, they're going to take that long lob-like shot that almost found its way to the back of the net, but Gaudreau was ready for it, and Indiana now has 20 seconds to counter. It's senior day here in Bloomington, Indiana at Jerry Yeagley Field, and it's a beautiful day for soccer and a beautiful day for a great matchup between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Michigan State Spartans. Welcome back live to BTN Student Use broadcast of the Indiana Hoosiers water polo team coming up against Cal Baptist. And Jacob, what have we seen so far? I can barely swim. I can just doggy paddle, and they're doing like 6 things at the same time. As Cal Baptist now looking to work that counter on the hand of Lizette Perez, and we're going to see an early foul call. They're going to work the advantage quickly. Cal Baptist, the shot off the water, but saved by Jessica Gaudreau, who is just putting up a stellar performance so far in this game. A stat that I always look to when trying to describe how talented this team was last year. One of just 3 teams in the last 20 years to average more than 80 points per game, shoot 50% from the field, and shoot over 41% from behind the three-point arc. That's absolutely remarkable, and if Indiana can even come close to replicating just a little bit of that, they're going to be so successful this upcoming season. Now back to Coach Rensing, of course, though. He's one of the more experienced coaches in the Big Ten, sending his team to 5 NCAA tournaments in his tenure at Michigan State. This cross finds the feet of Sierakowski for a shot on net, and he finds the back of it. A great opportunity for Sierakowski, and that's going to be his 9th goal on the season. That cross just finding the feet of him and one-on-one with Lamelli, and nothing you can do there if you're Indiana.
This is The Toss-Up, where we take a look at some of the topics facing the world of college sports and give a little bit of the history behind some of them. We're not trying to change your mind, we just want to dive deeper into the topics that keep you tuned in to the teams you love. Now, another facet of transferring is the ability for a university to restrict which school you transfer to and which school you're in communication with. Do you think schools should have the ability to, say, restrict staying in conference or restrict going to a rival, or do you think that's just unjustified? And the sentiment about declaring for the draft, testing the waters, brings up another question about whether basketball players should be forced to go to college in the first place. In addition to all of this, the head of the committee is the athletic director for Michigan State, a team that some could argue shouldn't have even been in the tournament. Yet, they were a 9 seed. Michigan State was 2-8 on the road, and their best win of the season was against Minnesota. Maybe it's time to call into question the decision makers here. Why are athletic directors deciding who makes the tournament? Can there be a better way to do this? Maybe computer statistics could be used, just like in college football. Or maybe we need a new selection committee. Either way, it's worth the conversation. Tyler, you mentioned Peter Jok. You mentioned the importance of shutting him down. How do you think Indiana goes about that? Is there a specific matchup you're looking forward to?
You mentioned that sleeping giant in Nick Theory, the sprinter for Cutters. He talked to the IDS after missing out, which he won, of course, because he's pretty darn fast. And he talked about his strategy in missing out, and he said he has none. He just goes out there and rides with, direct quote, balls. And we'll see how he does today, that sleeping giant, Nick Theory. Back to you, Josh.
But you mentioned it even with college basketball and Indiana. You talk to Indiana basketball fans. Do you think they care?
Well, the fans don't care.
They don't care at all, and that's the perception that we've all crafted with college sports programs. Indiana basketball, all they talk about is when are they going to get past the Sweet 16? No one's going to say, why are seniors not graduating? No one's looking at that stuff, and it's frustrating.
On that other side of the fence, you're seeing how the team is doing right now, trying to respond from an early crash. How do you think they're doing with that?
You know, I think there was.
You've got one of the deepest teams, of course, but you had the #1 ITT rider in Xavier. What went into the choice in letting Kevin finish off the race?
He was the only one who could walk.
Now, you and your brothers have a long history of being a part of the Little 500. What does this race mean to you? But Sarah Young, if I had to draw a comparison, she reminds me of Hakeem Olajuwon of the pool. Those post-up moves, the dream shake, she's got them all, and she's really using them today.
That's some big name comparisons right there.
Well, I got a lot of hot takes here in the booth. Cal Baptist going to try and work on the power play. The shot comes quick from the point position as Jessica Castellano gets back on the score sheet and puts Cal Baptist within 5 once again with 1:50 left to go.
Coach.
Sarah Young looks to work on the counter. Plenty of space, plenty of room, and plenty of goals. Sarah Young adding to her score sheet. That'll be her 5th on the night, and Indiana adding to their lead, 11-6.
The net.
And Tanner Thompson riding that momentum from the hat trick against St. Louis last game, taking that all himself. He had options throughout the box. He had the opportunity to potentially drop that off for Gutyar at the top, but taking it all himself and taking his 8th goal of the season, which is the team lead.
You have no business being in this dunk contest.
I don't know. If you give me a trampoline, I could probably get up there.
And if the basket was put down 7 feet.
Yeah, if you put the basket at around like 6 feet, 7 feet, give me a trampoline, I got a shot. A great cross into the box by McConnell, and a lot of faith comes from what he just did. Seeing Richie Ballard potentially making that late run into the far post and knowing just how fast of a striker Ballard is, that he was going to get to that one. A great opportunity, just couldn't get the finish on it, but gotta love the trust coming from Billy McConnell. Thompson going to send this inward cross into the far post. Off the head of Ballard to Mel, bouncing around a few bodies, then Gutman turning around, giving it a rip just wide, but another great opportunity for him. Gutman now looking to blow by his defender and send in a low cross. That's intervened with perfectly by Ben Thornton, not allowing that ball to fall to Rashad Hyacinth. Here, before the injury, he was playing alongside Yogi Ferrell. It seemed like the duo made it work, of course. They're both great scorers, but it was really Yogi's team. Now this team, with James Blackman as potentially a huge centerpiece moving forward, is James Blackman's team. Michigan State going to look for another long throw in from Dewey. Sending it into the box off a couple heads and cleared away by Grant Lillard. Doing a great job getting to that one before it could have been a corner kick. And it's those little things like saving a corner kick that really differentiate the top teams in the country and the ones that just don't seem to get any momentum throughout the year. The key with Sierra in that at-bat was his patient approach. You can't strike out in that position. You need to just get the ball in play and drive in the runner, and that's exactly what he did. Luke Miller has been stellar defensively, like most of the Hoosiers. This Indiana team, known for their defensive approach under Coach Lamonis, with a .975 fielding percentage, putting them at 3rd in the Big Ten and 22nd nationally. And really is a big reason why we see pitchers like Cal Kruger and like Jonathan Stever yesterday trying to pitch to contact in this Hoosiers rotation. A lot of guys just letting the fielders make the plays. This Indiana defense has been stellar.